Good afternoon, Knicks Nation. Welcome to the next edition of Sky Hoops Knicks Dreams. To join the conversation, drop your comments in the chat room. And also, what I've done is I've dropped the actual link in the chat room if you choose to want to be a panelist in this particular episode. So we welcome you guys and your participation, your involvement, and we look forward to chopping it up with you. With that being said, I want to introduce my panelists at the moment. We got Dream and we got Bill Stradamus, and they're going to kick it off for us in terms of what their thoughts were as it relates to our victory against the Detroit Pistons. Of course, we're also going to talk about tonight's game against the Nets, and maybe we'll talk a little bit of college basketball too. I know Dream has a few thoughts that he would like to share with us along those lines. So with that being said, I want to drop it. I want to do a nice little bounce pocket pass to my main man Dream so he could kick it off. Go ahead, brother.
Oh,
Rock.
I appreciate the pass. I'm gonna split these two at the foul line, and I'm gonna take it up with a little Westbrook on Bismack beyond bum and send him to the ground. Yeah, looking for his jaw. So basically, this game for us turned out to be like a little bit shock to the heart of the offense that the Knicks needed. They took the paddles out, pulled up the defibrillator, and was like, sha-sha-sha, right? So, and basically it kind of totally revitalized because, man, those last couple of games, only scoring around 90, that was tough to watch. We just want better showings from our team, jumped out right away. 41 points in that first quarter, and they basically got their groove back. They made 7 of their first 10 threes, and they never looked back from there. They was able to coast and basically take any pressure off and play loose. They needed a game where they could just play loose. We were a little nervous because, we played the worst team in the West, and, we had a tight game and we ended up losing, but we didn't want that kind of a thing from a team that we could easily beat and have easily beaten in the past. And, and it's good to get back a W with another tough game coming up tonight. So that being said, I'm going to go up and screw the rim back up real quick and then pass it to my man for bounds. Bill Shadamas, take it away.
Now just shoot the left-hand bank off the backboard for the easy 2. I thought that, we had a good showing, a good breakout offensively, as Green mentioned. Individually, certain players seem to, come out of their funk, a.k.a. Mr. Randall. He had a very nice game offensively. Bullock was out there doing what he does. Mr. Barrett had a decent, scoring game. Peyton, in 25 minutes, 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists. Very good game. Taj Gibson. Taj is out there playing like he's had a rewind in some regards. He's putting up decent numbers as well. 11 points, 5 rebounds in 21 minutes. Those are good minutes. Quickly, decent. Rose, he's not there yet still. Overall, we went in there, did what we were supposed to do, and now we got to forget about that game and think about tonight, basically. Although, I know it's not time in the show to go there. Tonight, we cannot get into making this game like some type of whoever wins is the king of New York. Don't get into any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Stick to what we do, and let that be the measuring stick as to where we are within this Eastern Conference. With that being said, I'm sorry about that. I'll go back to the game. Although we blew them out, we still lost that second quarter. We lost that second quarter 26-19. So there was a little letdown from that surprisingly or shockingly first quarter. Either that or guys just got tired. Third quarter and fourth quarter, we picked it back up and, ended up beating them by 24. Again, we did what we were supposed to do. Not going to over dramatize, make it as if, it was one of our best wins of the season, because it wasn't. And, with that being said, I'll throw it up top to Mr. Santana.
Yeah, I mean, I think thank you for the pass. I'm gonna do a Rain Man dunk where at the end of the dunk I'm gonna be pointing at you guys
Mhm.
like he was, bro, because that's one of the most athletic dunks that he's ever had, brother. I can never get that image out of my face. That one and another one that he pulled on the Knicks, bro. When I was working at the Garden at that time, and
Mhm.
this brother went right down the
Backwards.
yeah.
Backwards. That
Oh,
one.
That was
he
fun.
he was attacking the rim, right? He was going from the free throw line. He attacked the rim, and he ended up
And then they went
sideways and dunked it like,
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
my man with a nasty dunk.
I remember that. I remember that.
So, getting back to the Pistons game, this was a good bounce back game for the Knicks. They did what they had to do. And, they went out there, they won the game. The good thing is they won it decisively, so it wasn't a close one, so they don't have to second guess themselves. And also it helped a lot of guys, get back on track. And so
Right.
with that, being part of the outcome of the game, I think it's a feel good game for them. Not anything that we need to overly celebrate because again, they're not at our level. You know what I mean? They're
Right.
at, they're still, trying to identify who they want to be as a team. And obviously they got the second worst record in the league. So, this is not necessarily a measuring stick for us, but it was good that we did win the game that we needed to win. That's it. Bottom line, to eliminate the streak, the losing streak that we have been, and
Right.
now position ourselves to potentially, go out there and compete with the better teams. Case in point, the Nets tonight and the next series of games that are coming up. Right now we got 22 games left for the regular season, of which I predict that the Knicks need to win 11 out of them. So it's you gotta at minimum win one, lose one, win one, lose
Right.
one, win one to keep your 500 record. And so I think is quite doable. It won't be easy because there's going to be some tough games in there. But if they hold court at home, because the split is 11 at home and 11 on the road. Now,
Mm.
realistically, are we going to win 11 at home? Most likely not. But if we pluck a few off the road, it'll balance out. So whatever combination it happens, I don't really care. I could prognosticate which games I think they got a better chance of winning versus which games they don't. Bottom line, as ultimately, if they get those 11 wins, they'll be at 36 and 36. And I say with a record of 36 and 36, they're in the playoffs. That's just my take based on the full Eastern Conference standings. So that's the way I looked at you know the game against the Pistons. I didn't over celebrate. I know that Randall had a big game and so forth and so, but you come to expect that against a team like this. So I want to see that from him and others on the team when we play the teams that we really need to compete against. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when we really prove, can we go to that next level? And until then, the jury's still out. But we definitely need all hands on deck in that process. So with that being said, I want to drop it off to my main man, Dream. Go ahead, Dream. Give us
Mm.
more. Give us
Thanks
more of
for the
your take.
pass, and I'm gonna come baseline, and I'm gonna hook my arm in the rim and do some Vince Carter. I'm gonna leave Debo with his eyes crossed. So basically, in these little minor categories, we like to dig into the numbers a little bit. And steals, we came up 12-4. That was good for us. We turned them over 15 times. We assisted on our shots 31 times, which was really good for our offense. We outblocked them 11-4, and even the fast break points 16-7. So we did what we were supposed to do. Basically, is what it comes down to, right? So we handled our business in all those categories. Some things, I didn't like. I mean, we took 79 shots, but 39 of those shots were from the 3-point line. Thought that was a little bit much, and that's basically what started to happen in that second quarter and the third quarter is that it got comfortable shooting from deep. And so instead of running an offense to get baskets inside, they were just pulling those early shots and not really running deep into the clock. So that's what ended up happening as far as that stuff goes. We missed another 7 free throws, so I was not really happy about that. So we need to clean up a couple areas because against better teams. It's not, we're not going to fare well. But we did clear out on all the other categories, so that's pretty good. The one thing I did like is that in the blowout game, we finally got Tibbs to not overrun these guys in minutes. The most minutes played by Randall was only 30. So the rest of the guys, he shook up around 20, a little bit more than that. And so that really works well for our chances tonight and having fresh bodies. So thank you, Tibbs, for not doing that. And that's pretty much my take on pretty much how the game went. It's not really, we can't take much from blowouts either way. Especially against poor teams. We just want to handle our business against them and move on. So that being said, I'll toss it back to Santana because I think my man Bill just dropped off. Maybe got fouled on the way to the basket. So take it away, Santana.
Yeah, Bill's jumping in right now. So let me add him to the stream. Go ahead, Bill. Take it away. Take it away, Bill.
Yeah. That you made a very good point, Dream, with regard to the minutes, and I applaud Tibbs for he gave everybody minutes. He gave the new acquisition, what's his name, Pele. He gave him some burn, and he gave us a scare too. He went down on the almost lost it.
What's going on, man?
Yeah.
Inside jinx.
They said we're jinxed or whatever.
Oh man.
He gave Knox 5 minutes, Frank 3 minutes, Pele 3 minutes, Pinson 3 minutes. He even gave Little Harper. He gave Harper a couple of minutes, 2 minutes. But that's for Tibbs. That's an accomplishment. So, good point made. Body should be fresh for tonight, and not much more to say other than that. So I'll throw it over to my up and above my right to my man Santana.
So yeah, I mean, I think you said it best, Dream, in terms of how different individuals performed, and also the 3-point shooting. Yeah, sometimes we get carried away with the 3-point shooting, and I know I heard in some other show where, the Knicks 3-point shooting percentage is pretty good, compared to the league. I mean, I don't know what the numbers say in terms of how many threes they actually are shooting and stuff like that, overall in comparison to other teams, but you can shoot a good percentage if you don't shoot that many. You know what I'm saying? If you're shooting a lot, like let's say the Golden State Warriors, they're a 3-point shooting team, and your percentage is a little lower, that's a little bit more justified because you're taking that much more threes as opposed to taking less threes. Mm-hmm. So, my concern with the Knicks with the 3-point shot is if they approach it from the perspective of, we get hot, we're a 3-point shooting team. They're not. You could get hot here and there. Bullock was smoking. He started the game smoking. So did Randall. That's why, we got off so early. And then Bullock was able to sustain that in the second quarter. I mean, in the second half, because usually the what happens with Bullock is he'll have it in one half and not the other,
right,
and vice versa. But nonetheless, they just got to temper that. I know that the game is about speed, about getting more shots, but you got to have guys that can shoot to get more shots. If not, then the style that you play in terms of slowing the pace down is more to the configuration of your team, because you don't really have those kind of shooters. So you can minimize and limit other teams from shooting as much as well. But, again, you could experiment in these kind of games. Okay. Right. And with this kind of a lead, then yes, you could do that. Of course, minimizing the minutes, the load, load management of minutes and stuff like that, giving the other guys opportunities to get some run. That's a good game for that. And in this game, I got to give Tibbs credit because I was killing him the game before that. But for this game, he made good adjustments and he made good decisions to get other players involved, especially with a lead. Okay. Now, in terms of who they're going to play tonight, and we're going to transition now into tonight's game. They're going to have their hands full. The thing about tonight's game is that I was watching yesterday's game, and of those key starters, only Kyrie started. Harden didn't start. Harden didn't play. Kevin Durant
didn't play, right?
Yeah. Durant didn't play.
Right.
You did have Griffith who played, and you had Aldridge who played. So those were the big three on this end, in terms of yesterday's game, and then they lost yesterday. So
Right.
then today, I do expect Harden to play. I do expect Harden to play. Um, I don't know about Durant. It could be a hit or miss. They projected that he was gonna play today, potentially, or could play today, but we'll have to wait and see. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. Um, and then the question is, will LaMarcus play and Griffith play? Are they doing the Popovich thing where certain players are taking games off on certain days so that you don't burn them out on a back to back? That remains to be seen. But it's going to be interesting, and today is going to be a matchup that really is going to say a lot, because I know that during the post game press conference there was talk between Randall, I believe, and Bullock about they got a starting five, and then he said no, they got 15, and they're looking to match up against uh, the Nets. So there's a little talking going on in there, which is good, but you got to produce. It's easy to talk it, but you got to go out there and prove it. So I don't want to speak too much on that because I want to give my other brothers a chance to eat on that, cook with this. So go ahead, Dream, take it away. Tell us what you think, brother.
So I agree. We don't need to get into a battle of who's swinging the biggest stick, but and definitely who plays and who doesn't play definitely is a big factor. For our end, we've played them a couple of times already, and they've kind of like had mismatched lineups against us. One time we played KD, and then they threw in the other two versus us. So I'm not sure who's actually, if KD, Harden, all of them, but some of them are day to day or something like that listed currently. So we'll see how that goes. They won 4 out of 5 recently though, but 2 games that we played recent, they've also played recent. Detroit and Minnesota, they barely beat both of those teams. They barely beat Minnesota by 5. We lost that game. We shouldn't have. We already talked about that. But they also played Detroit recently, and they only beat them by 2 points, like 113, 111. So, and then they lost to Chicago, obviously, last night. So they're in a team in transition, I think, at this point, because they're trying to work in those new additions of how and what this team is going to look like, and how those new additions play with each of the stars also. So you'll have a game like they played last night where it looks like Kyrie still kind of went off and stuff like that, but in the end Chicago was the one who was able to pull them in just enough and outscore them at the end. So some teams that similar to what they do, as far as points allowed that we've beaten in the past, the Bulls, the Warriors, and the Blazers. Now, the Blazers are the only team that score on their level, or in the top 5, I'll say, So, that's more of, just some comps when we want to look at teams like, how do we approach a team like this that scores a high level, but also allows, because they don't really play defense. They allow a high level. So just some things to think about, but I'll over and pass it to my man coming down the lane, Bill Shadamas.
I'll take the left-hand layup off the glass. And okay, not an and one. Yeah. I'm wondering who's going to play as well. And on our end, everybody is available, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Except Mitch, because we know he's out. But you got the new kid who can give some minutes in the hole. Again, they're gonna have to bring your A defense and let that dictate how the offense is gonna go. Slow down the pace because they're gonna want to try to run us out of the building. Slow down the pace and play them. I think we got to play them physically, and and see if that's the correct approach in beating them, or see how you compare to them, because we already know that they're a great offensive team. However, they're not a really good defensive team. So with that being said, if we play defense, our regular defense, as opposed to try to play their game, which will probably be trying to run up and down the court, we give ourselves a better chance to win, I think. They have a lot of guys. I saw LaMarcus Aldridge. I saw just clips of them. I never watched a full game with their new crew. I've seen clips where Blake Griffin is giving them something. I've seen clips where LaMarcus Aldridge is giving them something. So can't expect anything less than that tonight. And like I said, we play our game defensively minded, and we give ourselves a better chance to win this game. And if we do win the game, keep our mouths shut. Don't get into a publicity stunt laced thing going, in the media. Just move on to the next game. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna be wondering that whether or not tonight's game Tibbs is gonna play everybody because they got a lot of players to play. Even though Durant may not play tonight, I think that Harden is going to play tonight. I agree with you, Santana, on that. I think Harden's going to play, and even with Kevin Durant not playing, they got guys on the bench. They got Jeff Green still. They got the two new forwards that they just picked up. So we're still gonna have to, come with our A game and not think that because their big three aren't all there that we can just run in there and beat them. We're all saying, don't get into I don't know, don't get into a King of New York vibe, and that'll serve us better going forward. Because who knows, might have to see them in the playoffs or something. So um, that's all I can say about tonight's game, basically. And with that being said, I'll throw a behind the back, no look to my man Santana.
And I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna go up and under and finish off with my left. A kiss off the glass with a kiss
Nice.
off the glass. You know, the key is here. Talent wise, I have to give obviously the Nets the edge. However, where I give the Knicks the edge is on the defensive side of the ball. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And the question that I have going into this game is, how much the defense imposes its will against the Nets. Because that's going to be the determining factor on whether they win or they lose. You know what I mean? Playing solid D and playing good team basketball. That's what they
That's
need to
it.
do.
That's it.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep the formula simple. Go out there, perform to the best of your ability, or be great in your role.
Right.
As a part of the team, and everybody do their part, and then we give ourselves a chance to win. What has been proven thus far is that when teams play defense against the Nets, they have a chance of winning.
Yep.
When teams try to outscore the Nets, now they're barking up the wrong tree.
Yep.
And so
Exactly.
that's the formula to success. Don't try to reinvent the wheel here. Stick with what works. Play defense. Force Brooklyn to play some kind of defense. And that way you're having them play your game as opposed to us playing their game. Because we can't beat them playing their game. We don't have those horses. The only way we're gonna beat them is by playing our game, slowing the
Yep.
pace down, making it bump and grind. Limiting touches. We got to play like that. That's who we are right now. That's what we have to bring to the table.
Yep.
Anything less than that is just, or even more than that, is barking up the wrong tree. But we'll see. We'll see. It should be quite interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's hard not to have a rivalry because they are a local team, just as like us. So you're gonna have a little bit of that, but don't get lost in that. Okay.
Right. I
That-
agree. Yeah. That's
yeah,
exactly.
that's an added, incentive, but your focus needs to be execution on offense and on defense. And then everything else will take care of itself. Don't get caught up in the hoopla. That's for the fans, that's for the media to run with. As players, you're expected to produce and
That's it.
execute. And that's the focus. That's what Tibbs has to really impose on the team is it's about execution. We need to every possession we want to make it a good possession, whether it's on the defensive end or on the offensive end. We want to make it a possession that benefits us. So with that said, let me drop it off to Dre.
Well, I think that was well said. You know, I'm not sure that there's much more to dive into as far as this upcoming game. We played them twice. We know what to expect from them, and we know what it takes to keep ourselves in the game. And part of that was keeping fresh bodies last night or the other day, I should say. You know, and getting ready for them. They're coming off of back to back. All those little things, those little areas that we like to put in the "this will help us" categories. Those things all need to fall in our favor, to compete with them. They're chasing titles. That's fine. We're not chasing titles just yet, but like we did in the last game, we got to let them know we're still here. We're still to be dealt with. You didn't blow us out, run away with us in the last game. We came back and have we had a chance to take it in overtime, maybe we see what happens. But each time we play them a little bit stronger. Each time we play these top tier teams, we play better. Aside from the Milwaukee blowout, we've gotten better against Philadelphia each time, and we've gotten better against Brooklyn each time. So let's just continue on that path. And with those kind of things being said, we always looking to add to our team. How can we make our team better? What kind of areas do we need to shore up, and those type of things. And these games help us do that in the end. Winning and losing, we always want to win what we can. Because some of these games, like I said, you're going to have to just put in our win category that we don't know. They're 50-50 games for us, and other teams are looking at it like, hey, let's get healthy on the Knicks, because our offense hasn't been that good lately. Well, hopefully with that Detroit game, we get our gears going again in the right direction, and that's it. There's not much more, we can do at this point. We just got to come and play hard, outside of that, Santana and I were talking earlier about some things that we might want to do to this team. We talked a little bit during the free agency deadlines and all that stuff like that about some people we could add. I was talking to him and telling him last night I was a little bored, so I just got up in the middle of the night and started digging through financial numbers and players and who's leaving and who can stay and go. And I kind of came up with some additions that we could add. Not just through the college game. I was mentioning, the college game tonight, it's going to have like 4 or 5 players in there that might be, a couple of those guys could fall to us where we positioned in the draft. Not so much the starting point guard from Gonzaga or Suggs or whatever his name is. He's probably going to go in the top 5 and stuff. But there's a couple of other guards from Baylor that are defensive and can shoot the 3. And then there's another forward I like, Crisper from Gonzaga. He's a nice sharp shooting forward that I like. He may fall around the 15, 16, 17 mark, somewhere around there. So, just some guys to keep eyes on and stuff like that, because we're, though we have those number 1 picks, we're not actually positioned in the lottery per se. So we're going to be mid-draft somewhere around that. So we have to think about what do we want to do with these picks and stuff like that. Part of what I came up with, that's kind of the good thing about what we talked about, is that this satisfies everybody's need, right? There's people, there's fans out there who want to keep what we have and build on that. There's fans who want to bring in some high quality assets and build on that. And then, we still have these draft picks. What are we going to do with these draft picks? How are we going to make this work? We don't want to turn into Boston and Danny Ainge and have all these draft picks and never pull the trigger. Like Danny Ainge had those number 1 picks for a while. He should have been turned that into Anthony Davis a long time ago. Didn't want to pull the trigger because he's too high value for that. And we talked about previously bringing Towns over and having to give up Randall. Well, yesterday I came up with a way we don't have to give up Randall, and we can still bring him in, and it still works for everybody, and everybody would be happy. So I'm just going to do this real quick 10 minutes. So as far as staying, these are the players that have multi-year contracts, and then the rest of them, they all go. But I kept 2 of them specifically because the money says we can keep 2 of the players that are going to be dumped out. So definitely staying is Randall. Definitely staying is Barrett. Definitely staying for now is Toppin, Knox, Quickly, and Robinson. Right? Those are the guys that have the 2-year contracts or beyond. And then two of the guys, everybody else is wiped off because of 1-year deals. But the two guys I'm talking about bringing back is Burks and Noel. You can bring them back at the same dollar amount that they make right now, maybe a little bit more. But just for this conversation purposes, those are the two guys you bring back that basically I put them in the re-sign category, right? So you have that to start with. The guys that go is Rose, Frank Ntilikina, Peyton, Bullock, and Gibson, right? That doesn't mean that some of those guys won't come back to the team on the mid-level exceptions or veterans deals or things of that nature, like we did to get them here. But so those 5 guys leaving creates 26 million, right? The 26 million plus the 15 in reserve that we have right now leaves us with $41 million. And I'm thinking we can add two players for that $40 million. The first one being Lonzo Ball, around $20 million. And the other one is, we've talked about him in the past, and his contract has been funny because of what he's done with it, but he does become a restricted free agent, which means Chicago can match it. We talked about Lauri Markkanen before. So he does become a restricted free agent. Chicago can match, but they've already put an offer for 17 for him, and he said no. So he's the other person I would try to bring in at that other 20 whatever million dollars, right? You bring those two guys in, right? So that's just free agency part of it. Then you explore the trade, right? The trade then becomes Toppin, Knox, and Robinson, and 2 first-round picks, right? And you send that to Minnesota, and you bring back Towns, all right? So how this works is this exactly. Toppin, Knox, and Robinson, they equal 12 million plus those 2 picks. All those players that the Knicks have brought in and then dumped, like Terrence Ferguson and the other center that they dropped in those nations that we never even saw, that money that's in like a dark cloud, that's pocketed money, that equals 17 million. So you have this 12 million plus the 17 equals 29 plus the 2 picks. And that's exactly what Towns makes right now, 29 million. So you could trade that out. Your new team would look like Ball, Barrett, Markkanen, Randall, and Towns will be your starting 5, right? And then your bench presently constructed will be Burks, Quickly, and Noel. And then you'd have to fill 7 spots with the rest of the money, veterans deals, and that nature. So I thought that was a really realistic look at what we could do and what's I think they could be chasing, because we're all trying to figure out, like, why did they not make moves and why did they cut all these people that they just got when we could possibly use bodies? I think they're just trying to chase those numbers, that 17 million, and that they can add to whatever they trade for Towns to make that work, to absorb. That 17 million is part of his contract that will have to be absorbed. And then, so you're not going blockbuster, but you're doing semi-blockbuster by bringing him in. And then the Devin Booker, forget about. We don't have to worry about that. That's just down the road. That would be, messing with Devin Booker's money. You could get Ball and Markkanen instead. And I think, so you still keep the core of what you're doing. You bring those players in, and they don't really change what you're doing. They just enhance what you're doing. And, and Thibodeau's happy because he gets players that he likes and wants to work with. He likes Markkanen. He likes Towns, obviously. And Ball just enhances everybody's overall play. So that's my 10 minutes of that. I'll just toss it out there for you guys. If you have any questions, thoughts on it, feel free. I'm just toss it straight up in the air.
Go ahead, Bill. You're muted, Bill.
Man, I take that in a heartbeat.
All of it.
All of that. I take that in a heartbeat, bro.
Yeah.
Like you said, certain players, you hate to see go. However, it's about the team. It's not about any one player that we have or could, but it's about players who we can have that gives us a better chance to get that, to get the, to get a ring.
Yeah.
So I would take that in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah.
And I like the re-signing of Noel to back up Towns.
Yeah.
Knowing that everyone else, Mitchell will be gone, and Todd's more than likely be gone as well. That was a good idea. If that's something that's being worked out, I hope it works out. Basically, Marketing now. How did you? Because I missed certain parts. How did we get marketing?
So the part of how we get marketing is that the contracts for Rose, Ntilikina, Peyton, Bullock, and Gibson, that equals $26 million that comes off off the books, plus you add that to the 15, that gives us 41. So you split the 20 million between one for Ball's contract and then the other for marketing, whatever, somewhere, to try to offer.
Okay.
So that those 5 players become those 2 players, and then, we lose 2 first-round picks. I don't think they'll both be from this year. One from this year, and then one maybe next year, or that other down the road Dallas pick in 2023. We don't have to worry about Randall per se. If you tell them we're not going to sign you this year, we still have you on the contract until next year. Let's worry about you next year, but we're going to bring these guys in. I think he'll be all about it. Just promise him you're going to get your money if you be patient, and then you address these other needs, and that's it. Plus, we still have our draft pick. We'll have our mid-round draft pick. You could still, like I said, those Baylor guards, if you're interested in one of those. If not, maybe Crispert, or you just look around. Try to, because what you'll need as a backup for your bench, if all of this works out, you'll need a 3 and a 4 as bench players to come in, because you're going to give away Toppin in that trade. So you'll just have to replace them with the next draft pick. You have a couple of draft picks, or guys can come back too. Like I said, there's all the time people sign for veterans minimums and things like that. You might get Taj Gibson back on a veteran minimum. You might get Rose back on a veteran minimum. That's what I mean. Like those types of things come into play. So they'll have 7 positions to have to fill after all their money's gone, and then those other things come into play. But
that's a great deal that I wish.
Yeah. Now we just got to get them on board. The good thing is that I woke up this morning. I was telling Santana also. I woke up this morning and I saw an article that was basically talking about this entire Towns trade, except they had Quickly in there instead of Toppin. And with my trade, I had Toppin in there instead of Quickly. So, I was like, oh, wow, somebody else is thinking about this too, And so I think it was like Bleacher Report or something like that. And, and they're already trying to push the idea. So I like it. Like the more people talk about it, too, pushing Towns and doing the right deal. Like when we talked about it before, I was including Randall and I couldn't restructure it in my head how it would work. And then, last night it did. And I was like, okay, I get it now. Okay. We can do this and still keep them, keep the core of what we're doing around here and just add to that. And, he's played before with Anthony Davis. So it's not like he's not used to playing with a dominant center down low too.
Right.
He's smarter and a better player at this time. Before he was just getting his points and rebounds, But, I think if he gets a chance to play with another really dominant center, he'll be even better, a better teammate,
Definitely, most definitely. Because I see times where he comes out and they're running everything through him, and he has a certain patience about him, where he knows that during this period of the game, I'm just going to be passing, and but then there's those times where he comes out and he's just seemingly just shooting. I don't know what that's about, but maybe that's something that he's, trying to work out in his game. But I feel the same way you do. If with a good big man, that him and that big man and whoever the small forward is, you were saying marketing as the 3.
Yeah, because for me, I could interchange those 2 on the fly. That doesn't matter. 3-4 for either one of those guys. Because just Randall's already the staple at the 4, so you could easily just move marketing. But once they're on the floor and the game is flowing, if Randall wants to step out, marketing go right in. And now you have a 7-footer in there also rebound with Towns. So it's like, a lot of times when he steps out, it's like Noel's fighting for his life against 4 people. But if you have 2 big bodies down there,
right
now it's
Yeah, and it's a big team. However, that can also run.
Yeah, they can still
move. Team that can run and defensively could still be good if they play good, solid team defense.
Yeah,
because no one's a lockdown defender. However, like Barrett's a pretty good defender.
Yeah.
Um, Randall is a pretty good defender. When they get their effort, they do well at it.
Yeah.
So in a team concept, it makes your job a little easier by just doing your job and your part. So I agree. That would be a really good team, man.
Yeah.
Really good team.
And Markkinen at the three can step out on those
Yep.
threes. Sometimes Randall doesn't want to go all the way out there, so it saves
Right.
a little bit of his legs. Also, if he knows, hey man, when we come down, you go guard the. If there's a guy that likes to shoot from the three, you step on him. I'll take the beef inside
Yeah.
and switch.
Absolutely.
So
H2O.
Hey.
What's going on, bro?
Uh,
everybody.
yeah, no, I was out on the road. Hey, what's up, G Money?
What's up?
I was
Jim?
on the road, and I know that where I was going to lose the connection. I think you remember the last time I was up there in Monroe, up there near Harriman and Woodbury Commons and all that area up there, on the other side of Bear Mountain. So anyway, I tried to get on, but it's telling me to get on Safari, blah, 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 this and that. Anyway, I know I missed most of the conversation, but I heard it all.
So give us your take. Give us your take.
About the 40-point first quarter, about how they demoralized the Pistons, and how they almost went into one of those tailspins, and all of a sudden Bullock hit a three, and they got their rhythm again, and they finish off well. And having said all of that, I'm thinking now basically about tonight's game, and because I peeked at last night's game, and I didn't see much of Kyrie. I didn't see Harden on the floor for the few minutes that I was watching. Maybe I didn't see enough of it. So I was just wondering. I was on my way to look up what's going on with the Nets injury report and who's playing, who's not tonight. Listen, one of the things that we got going for us is that we're coming off of a great win, and they're coming off of a back-to-back. Win or lose, they still got, should be a little bit more exhausted. I don't know. Sometimes that can give you good energy going on a back-to-back, and sometimes that can work against you. I'm hoping for the latter, that it works against them. And that we can bring, again, one point I want to make before I hand over the mic is to G Money, most likely, is that we are jinxed at the big, man. My man played 20 seconds, hurt his hand. What the hell is going on here? But he took the pain, he wrapped the finger, he hit 102, pure. I think this kid is a keeper, man. I like the way he gallops down the road better than Mitchell. And he got 2 blocks and a rebound in the same 20 seconds. So he did it all. He showed me that he's worth keeping and looking at and extending to the end of the year because we got no choice anyway. Take it away, G Money.
Yeah, man. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Everybody all right?
Good,
Everybody
man.
good. G Money, welcome
Good,
welcome
G-Money.
back.
Thank you. This will be a very, very difficult game in Brooklyn. It's gonna be a very tough game because this could be a first round preview, by the way. So we gotta prevent the Nets from getting to transition. We gotta guard that 3-point, like, because Brooklyn likes to launch a lot of outside shots. We gotta rebound the ball because Brooklyn's not a great rebounding team, and our star players, our all-star, and other role players have to step up and be consistent. And Thibs got to use the right rotation. So if I were Thibs, you got to use Frank a lot for this game to try to maybe not stop Kyrie, but to contain him. Because I don't think we have another guard that can contain Kyrie. So that's what I think Thibs has to do. And if you Julius Randle, he has to be consistent like he was early in the year. And he has to be consistent in the paint. Because I felt that the last meeting in Brooklyn, the numbers may look good, but if you watch the game, he kind of waited too long to take over when we were down by big. He has to come out ready to go, has to come out consistent. If you're RJ Barrett, he has to shoot the ball with confidence. He has to attack the ring because Brooklyn doesn't. Other than DeAndre Jordan, Brooklyn doesn't have shot blocking. So that's what it is. And also, we got to limit turnovers because if we can limit turnovers, we prevent the Nets from going into the break and run. So that's what we have to do. And if excuse me.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. If Kyrie, KD, and James Harden play tonight, it's going to be tough because if you slow down one guy, you have two other guys that can take over the game. So we just got to, try our best to contain two of these guys. And also, we got to jump on the Nets early. We can't be down big and keep coming back. They have too much depth, too much weapons, too much firepower for us to come back being down double digits. So if we can come up with the right mentality, defend, hustle, rebound, pass the ball, use the right rotations, we will have a chance to at least make this competitive. I'll be honest with you, I don't think we'll win tonight. I don't see it, man. I don't see how we win this game tonight. But can we make it competitive? It's possible because the Nets they come from a back to back and maybe it'd be a little bit tired. But to be honest with myself, I don't think we'll win tonight because I don't know if we're gonna have enough firepower and enough shooting to take care of business.
Okay. You make great points. If we're trying to approach this game as a way of, matching firepower with Brooklyn, we're not going to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
We have to convert this game into a real slow down, drag them out type of, slow pace type of game. That's going to
Mm-hmm.
give us the best chance to win, especially if we impose our defensive will against
Mm-hmm.
the Brooklyn Nets. Now, yes, they have three bona fide superstar in Harden, in Durant, in Irving, and of course, all three of them on the floor at the same time gives them a great chance of winning. But only one can score at a time. And that's the key. What I'm talking about now is psychological approach and strategy from an offensive, from a defensive perspective, but also from a coach's perspective. You got to drill into these players no matter what. They
Mm-hmm.
got three players that, yes, they can score. Any one of them can score on the floor. We got to play defense to spread out to play
Mm-hmm.
all three, but only one of them can score at a time
Mm-hmm.
in a
Right.
24-second shot clock. So we
Right.
have to have that kind of mentality. And like you said, G Money, yes, we're not going to be able to stop Kyrie, but we can approach it from the context of
Like
trying to
contain.
contain him. And
Mm-hmm.
bringing in Frank would be a good way because he gives him size too. He gives him size. He's
Mm-hmm.
got the good feet, lateral movement that he could try to contain Kyrie or
Mm-hmm.
force him to pass the ball. One way of also containing a guy like Kyrie is
Mm-hmm.
making him give up the ball
That's
earlier
true.
or not
That's
even
true.
let him get the ball to begin with.
That is true.
Or
That is true.
somebody else to try to beat you. Yes, of course. If they got Harden, he can take up the dribble. But I want Harden to dribble the ball for 20 seconds. I
That is
really
true. That
do.
that stalls their offense sometimes. Sometimes
Yeah.
when you watch the Nets, yeah, they like to score a lot of points, but sometimes when Harden dribbles the ball, it stalls their offense a little
Yeah.
bit. But
Yeah.
here's another thing too. We got to play without fouling. If you're don't foul Harden. Watch your hand though. Don't foul Harden because sometimes James Harden can be a little bit crafty. Sometimes, so you gotta
Yeah, very much.
watch your feet, play without fouling. And it's because we don't want to let Harden go to the line 10 plus times. Because if that happens in this game, we don't have a chance. So we got to, play without fouling. Let these guys hit tough shots. Don't give them easy rhythm type shots. Let them hit tough shots. And like you said, Santana, take the ball out of Kyrie's hands. I know this Durant and Harden, but like you said, I'd rather see Harden dribble the ball dribble the shot clock and let the next off install than let them move the ball freely and get the
Yes.
high percentage shots. Because
Yes.
when Brooklyn likes moving that ball, this team's gonna get the high percentage shot, and this team's gonna be very, very, very
Of
tough.
course,
So
of course,
yeah.
of course. That's their game. That's their game. But what I want to do is I want to go back to something that Dream
Mm-hmm.
proposed in terms of potential moves in the off season that I think
Mm-hmm.
you guys probably didn't hear, and then we could get your take on those moves, and then
Okay.
we'll go back to the Nets game. So Dream, go ahead, introduce it, and let him introduce it in the full scope of what he's presented because there's a lot of moving parts. Once he
Mm-hmm.
completes it, then you guys chime in to H2O and G Money.
And free money. Yeah.
Go
Right.
ahead,
All
go
right.
ahead, Dream.
All right, so I'll just I'm gonna frame it like this: pre free agency, trade deadline and things of that nature. We talked about how we had a show. We talked about how to improve the team, a certain way. So we proposed certain things. Yesterday, I started going back through that. Now that all that has passed, and monies have been spent or collected or built up for certain other things. So first, through free agency, these guys will stay. Other guys will go. Two of the guys that contracts end because they're expiring this year, I decided to keep. So this is how we're gonna do: stay. Randall stays. Barrett stays.
Oh yeah.
Toppin, Knox, Quickly, and Robinson, all because their contracts already have 2 years already. Those are guys that are just here that don't expire by the end of the year. Two guys I'm re-signing are Burks and Noel at the dollar figure that they're staying at right now, $6 million, $5 million, whatever that is. Guys that go, Rose, Ntilikina, Peyton, Bullock, and Gibson. All right. So those 5 players, they equal $26 million. We already have $15 million in reserve. Right. So that equals $41 million. That $41 million turns into, in free agency, Lonzo Ball and Lauri Markkanen, however you want to split it between them. Each of them takes about $20 million as a contract, per year deal. So those 2 additions come in and the other 5 guys go just for now. That doesn't mean that other guys won't go and come back on veteran minimums or mid-level exceptions, those types of things, guys like Gibson or Rose, if you want to bring them back, right? So once that's done, then we go to the trade portion, which happens in between or during the actual draft, right? So during the trade deadline, the Knicks brought in a lot of second-round draft picks or guys that were bench guys and ended up cutting them. And everybody was like, why'd you waste all that time, right? So a lot of what that did, plus monies that's coming off the books, is going to equal $17 million. Keep that $17 million in mind, slide that to the side, right? So these guys go in a trade, and the trade is for Karl Anthony Towns, right? These guys go. Toppin, Knox, Robinson, and 2 first-round picks, right? Toppin, Knox, and Robinson makes $12 million. Plus the 2-round picks. Now you slide back over, that's 17. That's $29 million, right? On the other side of the deal, that's what Towns makes, $29 million. So that trade now works, right? So your new team, after all that is done, your starting 5 will be Lonzo Ball, RJ Barrett at the 2, Lauri Markkanen at the 3, Randall at the 4, and Karl Anthony Towns at the 5. And your bench, currently constructed, you still have slots to fill, would be Burks as a backup guard, Quickly as a backup guard. You need to fill the 3rd and the 4th as backup, and then you have Noel as your backup center. And then you have to fill in the other 7 spots on the team with, like I said, veteran minimums, mid-level exceptions, and whatever deals, 2-way contracts, things of that nature. And then plus whoever we draft, because we still have a couple of draft picks left. So that's the whole frame of the entire thing. You guys let me know your thoughts.
Go ahead, H2O.
Listen, in a perfect world, that would be great.
This is a realistic world. This is not like we're not diving anywhere we don't need to be. This is where our money and potentially people who want to be back over here versus what we have.
I know, but what I'm saying is that I get to keep Quickly. But the reality is that they might want Quickly and Robinson.
They tried. New Orleans didn't want them. That's why we rejected the deal.
Okay, for in order for us to get
Lonzo,
the cat. No,
Yeah.
Lonzo's a free agent.
Oh, Cat.
Oh,
Oh,
Cat.
okay.
They're gonna need Mitchell and Quickly and maybe Knox. Oh, Knox is not a big deal, but and maybe a 2nd-round pick. And
You're gonna have to throw 1st round in there.
well, maybe whichever one, but there'll probably be a pick along with that package. So in your world, I get to keep Quickly and end up with the cat, and maybe go out and get Lonzo Ball. That's fantastic. I wish that this whole deal somehow gets into the ether and lands in the ears of the right people.
Well, I kid you not. This morning I woke up and I think it was Bleacher Report had the Towns trade, but they had Quickly in there instead of Toppin, and I had Toppin instead of Quickly. But either way, it is what it is.
I'm looking at.
They had the entire thing on there, and I was like, wow, okay, so at least people are talking about it. That's it. Let's push it out there. Let's get it out there.
I'm looking at another source, the Inquisitor,
Yeah.
and they are talking about a rumor
Yeah.
where the Knicks could acquire for a town for
Yeah.
Robinson, Quickly, Knox, and multiple draft picks.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I woke up to today.
Wow, that's not even going to be like at the end of the year or something. I'm not sure what. I didn't read that far into it, so I'm not sure what the time frame is going to be. But
well, if you want to include one of this year's draft picks, then it has to be by the trade, like the draft. I mean, that's why I said that would happen July 1st or whatever the draft is. You know.
Okay.
That kind of deal.
Yeah. Well, great. Because in your scenario, we're getting rid of everybody that plays at point guard. Because Quickly is not going to be your number one point guard. We need to now go out there and get
Lonzo.
Well, you're bringing in Lonzo.
Okay.
And then you're re-signing Burks if you want him as your backup. If not, you still have your draft picks. You can draft up. There's plenty of point guards in the draft this year. Tons of them, like solid all the way down, you know?
Okay. No, it'd be nice to get the kid from Gonzaga.
No, I mean, gotta be realistic. I mean, if you wanna be realistic, you look at the kids from Baylor, those two guards they have, either Butler or Mitchell. You look at that if you're interested in.
But that's just as unrealistic as Gonzaga because they're there too. They're playing in the finals, so people are looking at them also as possible draft picks to then use them as trade bait later on or to keep them.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like we're not going to draft that high, so that kid's out of the picture. Chris Burt, the other shooting forward, whatever that kid, he's around. He'll be around.
Oh, okay.
You know, if you want to look at that.
You said Semi or Semi or whatever that guy is.
Semi? I don't know. I mean, he's okay. There's once you break college down to the top 60 players, it changes who gets drafted, who versus who is. And so he's not a first round pick, Timmy. I don't see him as that. If somebody wants to take a shot, they take a shot in the second round, but
right. Okay, I like it. I like it. Please.
Yeah.
I just when you say bringing in Cat, I guess most of my players are, I'm okay with putting them in the mix, and that includes Quigley, Toppin, and Barrett.
No, not Barrett.
Well, I'm saying in my book, if we're gonna get Cat, yeah, I'm sorry.
You'd be willing to do it, basically.
I love you, but if they want you, hey, I'll see you next time. All right. I'll hold your number until you come back.
I kept them here for you because you were the one complaining about blowing up the whole team, and so what I did, I made this entire thing work for everybody's basic general purpose and aspect of how they wanted to improve it, and this is what we came up with.
I appreciate it, but then what it's really what's out there in the rumor mill is Quigley and Robinson.
Yeah.
Which are two other, smaller pieces of that core that I would like to see 3 years from now.
I don't know. I'm good.
And see what they become. And hopefully
Noel gives me enough, of what I need. I need a hand in the face every single time at the basket,
And right now, Pell might be something too.
Yeah, I mean,
He may. Hopefully, he does turn out to be something.
I mean, he can't be no worse than Mitchell. Just a rebounder and shot blocker.
That's it. Nah, I'm done with that. I need a force. Down low now.
So maybe he can become that. Maybe he can. You can throw the ball down to it, but we don't need him as to run our first unit anyway. I'm still looking at Towns to come here. It's just that I got him as my backup if I get rid of Mitchell.
Yeah, no, I get that. But then you say goodbye to Noel.
You have Noel. Noel.
Yeah. If you don't, then that was a re-sign anyway. So what you're saying is like you're okay getting rid of Noel, just re-sign Mitch, whatever, and let him be the backup. I mean, that's fine.
No, I didn't say re-sign Mitch because Mitch is going with the Cat trade.
So then you have to keep Noel, is what you're saying.
Noel will be there, but Todd Gibson is not a backup center. If anything, he's a backup 4.
he's gone at this point. So he's just going to be coming in.
So we got
He'll come back. You know.
we have Pell as backup.
Yeah, but these guys are on short contracts anyway. They're not going to be here next year.
That's
Right.
what I mean.
So let's get G Money's take on it. Go ahead, G Money. What are your thoughts on what Dream just proposed in terms of trades, free agent signings, and so forth?
Yeah, Dreams made some good points. You know, we need we don't need a superstar right now, but we need an all-star. Hey, we get a superstar like Kawhi Leonard to come here, which I doubt, then I'll be happy. But we need to revamp this roster. We need we need a three. We need a point guard because I don't think Alfred Payne's going to be here long term. I don't see it. Also, Taj is a decent player, but he is getting old in age, so he's probably gonna be gone next year. I would probably let go of Kevin Knox. That's what I would do personally. Frank, 50-50 with Frank. I would probably let go of Theo Pinson. That's just me. I would probably, let go of other, not a lot, but like some other bench players, and keep Alec Burks. If we could, keep Derrick Rose because he's our best point guard we got. Also, keep Quigley, and also the fact that we develop RJ again. We keep Randall, obviously. We just need a three, and a point guard and we also need some shooters out there because I'm sorry, Reggie Bullock. He can shoot, but he's inconsistent. You don't know what you get from Reggie Bullock sometimes. So it's like we need to fix those issues and address those issues right away. So yeah, that's what we need. If there's any free agent in the market, let me check. Because there's a lot. There's DeRozan, there's Hayward, I don't want Paul George at this point.
Hayward just got hurt.
Excuse me?
He got hurt.
Hayward? Yeah. I'm not saying we should go after him. I'm just considering. I'm not saying we should go after him. I'm just considering. Also, I know we're talking about the offseason, but in the buyout market, we could consider getting Otto Porter or even a Ben McLemore or a Kyle Culver or something because we need shooting though. We need some outside shooters on this team right now. So I wish we would have gone JJ Redick. You know what I mean? I wish we could have gone JJ Redick, or we could have even had a Kelly Olynyk or something. Because we need someone to stretch the floor consistently. Because Bullock is a good shooter, but he can shoot, but he's a roller coaster from downtown. So that's what I'm saying. And if we needed a power forward, I don't know why we didn't go for Kelly Olynyk. I know Julius Randle's a power forward, but we need like a backup or whatever. We could have gone for Kelly Olynyk because he could stretch that floor, man. So that's what we need. That's what we need, though. And I would love to get Lonzo Ball for our point guard. I would love to get Lonzo. So yes, he can push. He's not super duper fast, but he can dribble. He's an improved shooter now compared to where he was when he first came in the league. And he's an underrated passer and a very, very good defender. So that's my taste. We just need to revamp this roster. We need to get some other players that can fit in this system because I don't think Kevin Knox, Frank is debatable. I don't see Knox, Pinson, Peyton, be on this team long term. I don't see it. And Taj.
Right. And I think in terms of what Dream has proposed, I think they're very reasonable. They are attainable. Of course, the only question marks are when you're dealing with restricted free agents, because basically marketing is a restricted free agent, and so is Lonzo. So is Lonzo. So yeah, we can make the offer. Then it's up to those respective teams to match the offer. Hopefully they won't match because Chicago now, when they loaded up their team with the guy from Orlando, Vucevic and others, I think that's the direction that they're leaning towards. So I don't know if they're gonna be able to match the offer because then they're gonna tie up too many salaries, and they still got to sign some of those guys. The same thing with New Orleans. New Orleans, on the flip side, they've signed Bi, Brandon Ingram, to a major contract. Of course, they got Zion. You know what I'm saying? Those are the cornerstone. Now with Alonzo, he's gonna want his 20 million. And the question is, does Griffith say to himself, well, you know what? Even though he is talented, we only winning but so many games with him.
Right.
And so, do we want to invest that kind of money or let him walk away? If they allow him to walk away on the Knicks match, perfect, perfect, because we don't have to
Mhm.
give up anything to get him other than salary. We don't have to give up other assets. So,
Mhm.
I think the structure of your deal, um, um, Dream, is spot on. Is spot
Mhm.
on. And then getting in the cat in here who wants to be in New York and who's playing. He's balling. He's playing defense too. Because that's
Yep.
one thing I saw in his last game. He was playing defense. He was trying to play Embiid straight up. Him and him.
Mhm.
Mano a mano, toe to toe,
Yeah, cat.
blow for
Carlton
blow
Towns.
for blow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
think there's a maturity factor. And of course, Minnesota's in a position where this, although he's the franchise, they're losing with him. And can they sustain, paying him and paying Anthony Edwards and paying D'Angelo Russell and drafting and bringing in new players? I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know. They're a small market team. You know what I mean? What
Mhm.
we have to offer will help them continue to build a team, but not have the superstar payroll because I don't think they could sustain that payroll. But that's just my take. But go ahead, Dream. Give us your take on that or anything else that you want to talk about.
I mean, that was pretty much it for me. Unless anybody else had anything else they wanted to drop in on that, then we could just flip it to dropping the scores for the Nets game and stuff like that. Anybody, real quick?
Yeah, I didn't have
All right,
anything.
so
I liked your deal, man.
yeah. So
I like
I
it.
liked it too last night, and like I said, waking up this morning, seeing a couple articles out there, already, putting that in the air. I'm hoping it just settles in around the Garden and people start taking it seriously and understanding that, yeah, we can do this. This makes sense to our dollars,
Mhm.
So basically, with that being said, getting back to the game tonight, it's always just going to be based on who's playing, who's available on their end. Basically, we know what most of our guys are going to be available,
Mhm.
but who's actually going to be playing on their end determines, the gap here, right? Are we going to be in this game and contention to try to win it, or is it just going to be a game that they settle in and just win convincingly? I don't think they'll blow us out either way. Like I said, last game, we let them know, listen, we're still another team here in New York. You're not a doormat. You're going to have to really earn your wins against us, and that's what we do. I threw out the comps as far as teams that we've beaten that pretty much are in the same boat as them as far as points allowed. And that was the Bulls, Warriors, and the Blazers. Like we said, the Blazers are the only team that really matches them offensively because they're in the top 5 with them. So that's really the litmus for us. We split with the Blazers, so we haven't found a way to pull this game out against the Nets. Maybe this third time around we do that. I'm gonna give us a shot. Based off what Chicago did to them, I think we're a better defensive team than Chicago. Chicago basically had them around. If we can keep them around 25 for 2 quarters and around 30 for the other 2, I think we can pull out enough offense, or at least have some rollover from the last game where we played a little bit loose. Curve the 3-point shooting a little bit. We don't need to take 39 attempts. That's more their game. If we do 25 attempts and put the other into getting into the shot clock, getting better shots around the basket. Don't get into a jump shooting competition with them. I think we could score 111 and keep them to 106. So Knicks 111, Nets 106. We finally get one against them, and I'll send it next door. Just the underhand pass right across the Bills.
And I'll just lay it up and get the and one on this. Calmly go to the line and sink the free throw.
Oh,
I was thinking that, there's no way that we can win unless we do the aforementioned things that everybody laid out.
Mhm.
However, I want to believe that we can do it and we're going to do it. So I'm gonna go, I guess, with my heart on this, and I say that we can pull this out against them. We'll beat them 112 to 110.
A thriller.
Yes.
112, 110. With that, I throw a bounce pass between the legs to my man H2O.
Listen, I am praying. I'm going to light a candle that Kevin and James Harden are out.
Harden's playing today, by the way.
Don't say that. Don't say that, G Money. You kill
No, he
me.
is. I checked. He is. I checked. He's playing.
He
If
home.
he is-
I'm gonna light a second candle now.
The second candle for the change that. Huh?
He'll change his mind. I don't want him to be hurt because I'm not about, I'm not, I don't care. I play him at full strength. I mean, we almost strangled the ball out of his hands anyway the last game. And if it wasn't because of that dumb play by our main man, U-Haul, we would have had at least a shot. We would have had at least a shot with 5 seconds left to either win it or tie it. But anyway, yeah, we want them. We want them at whatever strength there is,
Yeah.
Because, like I think somebody mentioned that this could be a possible first round
preview I did.
a preview for the first round for us. Who knows?
Mhm.
So we need to play these guys and say and feel that we can stay in the game with them and win a game against them.
Mhm.
For those reasons, I'm going to go with the hope. And the hope is that we're going to win this game 105-98.
Whoa, we're gonna hold the big
Whoa.
minutes under 100 points.
We bring in the defense.
Oof. Okay.
I'm a true Knicks fan. I love their team. I love how we fight. I gotta be honest. I don't see any way we're gonna win this game. I'm gonna say Nets 115, Knicks. I'm going to scratch that. Nets. I think the Nets just have too much offense. I'm going to say Nets 120, Knicks 105. I got to be honest. We don't have enough scoring, though. Yes, I know we're a good defensive team, but here's the thing. Remember, Chicago just beat Brooklyn. Brooklyn's going to play angry in this game. They won't play perfect, but they're going to play angry in this game. They want to send a message. The Knicks will fight. I'm not saying it will be a blowout. That's not what I'm saying. I think it will be close around 2.5 quarters, and I think that third quarter, because usually our problem's that third quarter. That's the thing. It's that third quarter. Are we going to sustain enough offense in the whole third quarter to stay with these guys in the fourth quarter? I don't know. And that's the thing. I just think Brooklyn's going to come up with more fire, hunger, and I just think that even though we're going to play hard, is Bullock going to be consistent? I don't know. Can Arj is good? I think Arj will have a pretty good game. I think Randall will play pretty well, but Randall may need to drop nearly 30. You may need to drop nearly 30 or even more to win this game. I'm sorry, man. And I think the Nets have too much depth. Joe Harris can shoot the ball. Bruce Brown can defend. Claxton's athletic. I know LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin are not the old Aldridge and Griffin from the past, but they still are pretty productive. We struggle with the pick and pop defense. That's the thing. We struggle with the pick and pop offense. Excuse me. So that's gonna be an issue. And again, are we gonna prevent transition? That's the thing. The Nets like to fly, like DeAndre Jordan. KD can go to the rim. James Harden. Kyrie can go to the rim. Claxton can fly to the rim. So that's the thing. So if I had to be honest with myself, even though I would love to pick the Knicks to win, this is not me being pessimistic. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I got to be honest. I don't see how we win this game. I'm going Nets 120, Knicks 105. That's my guess.
All right. So this is the thing. I know we're pulling at heartstrings, and my heartstrings are being pulled here too, because of course I definitely want to see the Knicks win. I do see a pathway to victory. Of course, is contingent upon the defense that they impose throughout the game. That's the way I see it. I see an opportunity where they, play good transition defense so that Brooklyn can't get off and run.
Mhm.
Also, steer the ball towards Harden. Let him dribble the ball out. Let him dribble the clock out as much as possible. Because if he's dribbling the clock, chances are that's one shot. And if we get the rebound, they miss. Now we can control the game from that point forward. So there's opportunities. I see opportunity. It's not going to be easy. And on top of that, they're coming off a back-to-back. They have a little influx because every game they got a different lineup. So they don't have that continuity yet. Yeah, they've been coming out. They've been able to win, but they've been able to win big against teams that don't play D. Okay, teams that do play D,
Mhm.
They seem to come back down to earth, and that's the
True.
determining factor. That's when we can truly pull out a victory. If there's an opportunity to win a game against the Nets, it is today. Why?
We
Because
have to.
when we get to the playoffs, by then their guys are going to be ready for the playoffs. Right now, they're trying to figure themselves out. They're trying to
Right.
figure out what's going to be the best combination, the best rotation. So I say I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to pick the Knicks to win this game in particular because of those different factors that I brought out to bear right now. And with that being said, I'm going to say the Knicks will hold at they'll go to their average in terms of scoring 105,
Mhm.
106, and they're going to
Yeah.
hold Brooklyn to 100.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, teams. I mean, then teams do have bad shit in night sometimes. Again, I'm not saying the Nets are unbeatable. That's not what I'm saying. No team's unbeatable.
What
I'm
you
just
say is okay with us, G Money.
okay. What
You
I'm
don't
saying
have to
is
defend it. You don't
what
have to
I'm
defend it.
Thank you. What I'm saying is this, though. In a close game, let's say the game does come down to the wire. Brooklyn has three go-to guys: James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Who's our go-to guy consistently? That's gonna be a problem. Yes, we have a lot of defense. We play hard. We scrap. We're a good team. But I'm saying is that if we're gonna pull this game out, we gotta jump on these guys. I don't know if we can win a close game against these guys. We can't. I don't think we can win a close game against these guys. We gotta jump on these guys because here's the thing: the Nets are a team that can spread the floor easily, and the Nets are a team that can get run the break. It's just the Knicks are a great defensive team, but here's the thing: we struggle against 500. We struggle against great teams all year. That's the thing. Yes, we beat the Bucks. Yes, we beat the Jazz. But ever since really that Utah game, we haven't been a dominant team at full strength. That's what I'm saying, though. So that's gonna be an issue, though. So again, the Nets are beatable. They are. Every team is beatable. But I'm saying is that this Brooklyn team, they just have a lot of weapons. The good news is that they're not a great defensive team. That's the good news, though. So I think we lose by double digits, not in a blowout. I think we lose by double digits because I just think that I don't see us having enough offense to match this team. So that's just me. I could be wrong because again, it's the regular season. Anything could happen. The Bulls just beat the Nets, so who knows? But heck, the Cavs just beat the Nets. So it's not impossible we can win tonight. But I just think with the circumstances, with James Harden coming back, potentially Kevin Durant coming back. If Durant doesn't play, then we have a great chance to win. But if Durant comes back with Harden, with Kyrie, Aldridge, Blake Griffin, Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, Claxton, etc. Jeff Green. Don't forget, Jeff Green killed us last week. We can't let Jeff Green go off like that again. We gotta do a better job limiting role players. So I think it'll be a close 2.5 course, but I think that third quarter is gonna be the third quarter doom. That's my guess because the Knicks are a good team, but we struggle in that third quarter. We gotta come out after halftime with fire like we did against Detroit. If we can do that, we have a shot. But I gotta be honest. I gotta go with the Nets. The Nets just have too much talent, too
Okay.
much experience, too much depth, and I just think that if the game does come down to the wire, even though I like Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, I trust James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving more than Julius Randle and RJ Barrett because those guys have been there before. Julius Randle and RJ Barrett haven't been to the playoffs yet. So that's just me though. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now we'll do a little twist here right now.
Mhm.
We're gonna change focus here. We're gonna focus on tonight's game, the NCAA game, real quick, because
WBD.
Dream has some, I guess, guys to watch in tonight's, championship NCAA game. So Dream, go ahead, share a little bit of your thoughts on what you see for tonight's game from both teams and the potential of the outcome of that game.
Yeah, I mean, both teams definitely deserve to be there. They're the top two teams all season long. We got cheated out of a matchup earlier in the season. They were supposed to play each other. They got knocked out because of COVID protocols or restrictions and things of that nature. So that would have been really nice to get a gauge on how they're going to play against each other. Baylor, the more defensive squad of the two. Gonzaga, the more efficient scoring squad of the two, and they like to put up a lot of points. They run backdoors all day long, and they're just one of the top efficient teams, as far as field goal shooting. Guys to watch, like we said, those two Baylor guards. When I say guys to watch, I mean guys that are going to be in our area to potentially draft. We know the kid Jalen Suggs. He's all world. He's going to be probably top 3, top 5 at the latest. I'm not sure that with the things that we're proposing, how we want to go forward as a franchise, that we'll be in that a lottery selection area this year. But we'll be right outside of that. So right outside of that, we'll fall those two Baylor guards. One shoots a little bit better at the 3 than the other, but one is a little bit better defender. On-ball defender, and projected to be a really good defender on the NBA level. So depending what we want to look at as far as that, then you have the inside guys for Gonzaga, who basically they're pretty good at shooting. Chris Bird, Timmy, Drew Timmy, he's in there causing a lot of havoc. But if you want a comp for Timmy, you probably just need to look at Zach Collins, I believe, in Portland. It's a very similar game and also came out of Gonzaga. So if you like Zach Collins, that's what this other guy will probably trend to be on the NBA level. But if you're looking for a small forward who can shoot, then Corey Crispert is your guy. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I just wanted to mention that, and that it should be a fun watch tonight, regardless of what happens. It's been a while since we've had the 100-point mark eclipsed in a championship game. And I think tonight we might get one of that, one of those, type of games where it just goes up and down all day long. We saw what they did. Both teams showed out pretty well. Gonzaga had the tighter game, and they won on that last-second bank shot. So, these guys, they're all solid players. And even in when they got tight, they showed that they deserve to be there. So, maybe they do a little history tonight. They'll be, if they win, they'll be, I think, only the second team, besides that Indiana squad back in the day in the 70s, I believe it was, to go undefeated and win a championship. So, cheers to all those guys for competing, and it should be a great watch, and definitely some players to look at and see, how they could help us potentially down the road. Other than that, I bounce it down to my man, Bill Shadamas.
Well, it should be a fun game, and the mention of going over 100 points, that in itself is intriguing enough to tune in. So I'll be sneaking away from our game and checking in on that game. I want to see the kid. I want to see Chris Bird, and I do want to see the two guards.
Mitchell and Butler.
Mitchell and Butler. I want to see those two guys as well. And the thing is, they've been doing this all year.
Yeah.
This is not some type of Cinderella story. I don't think for either team really. They both teams and those players, their top players, have been consistent this year. So, looking forward to seeing a nice game there. And I do hope that they reach the 100 mark or go over the 100 mark. That'll be that would just indicate that it was a fun flowing game, and and the better team I guess wins. How about you guys? Who are you pulling for, either team in particular, or do you just want to see a good game?
I picked Gonzaga to win my bracket, but that doesn't mean the rest of my bracket getting to this point went well, But I did have them,
Okay.
I had them winning. I had two brackets. I had them winning, and then I had Oklahoma State making a run and going, but that didn't work out for me either. So.
All right. How about you, 2.0?
I'm a sucker for a good story, and I think going undefeated would be cute. Plus they got the players to do it.
Yeah.
Those guys, those forwards that they have, they crafty, but they're not athletic and all of that stuff, but they get the job done, man.
Yeah.
We get the job done, and that kid Jalen Suggs is a hell of a point guard from the 3 or 4 games that I've seen him play. I haven't seen Baylor like that, even though they have a great resume and they are, they deserve to be there. There's a reason why they're there.
Yeah.
I think they only lost 2 games, right? 27-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
So they got the horses. The X factor, if there is going to be one, is that there is this kid that used to play at Florida State that transferred over to them, Andrew Nembland or Nemhard, and he looks like he's very poised. Nice point guard that knows how to run the team. Knows how to give the ball to those guys when they have they are overmatched. Their opponent down in the low blocks when they do that high low situation, and so I'm looking at Gonzaga.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a good game and stuff like that. The matchup that I'm really interested in seeing is obviously number 45 for Baylor. I don't know his name, playing Crispin. I want to see that matchup because Crispin is an offensive player, and
Yeah.
this guy number 45, he's a lockdown defender. So I'm gonna be looking at that particular matchup in particular because I think that may set the tone. Even though Gonzaga has other guys that can score, of course, Suggs and the other guy that plays down in the low post as well.
Timmy.
But yeah, I'm bad with names. I'm bad with names. But it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be great. UCLA gave them a run for their undefeated season. I'm sure Baylor is gonna give them, if not the equivalent, but just as much of a game that UCLA gave them. So that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I like to see, sometime, one of these stories where you have an undefeated season. That's a nice thing. But it wouldn't bother me if Baylor won either way because I don't have a vested interest in either team. But I just want to see a good game. I want to see a competitive game, and I want to see how these matchups play themselves out or bear themselves out throughout the game. I'll be watching both our game, the Nets against the Knicks, and that game. So I'll have the NCAA game on my laptop, and I'll have the Knicks on the big TV, and just enjoy both of them. That's the way I'm gonna go about it. So with that being said, fellas, we're about to close this down. So unless you guys have any last minute words, you guys tell me, and then we could go from there. We all good? We all good?
All good.
You're all good.
Yeah.
Go
We all
New
good.
York. Go New York. Go.
All I
So
can say, yeah, I did find an interesting bit of information. First of all, I wish we had Bernard King scoring 60 against them as he did way back in 1984. And the other piece of information that I found is that the Nets, they had like 7 guys in double figures in that game last night, and they still only scored 107 points.
Yeah.
So, you just had to hold them down, man. You got to hold them. And I think that Kevin Durant is definitely maybe. I don't know. They're saying out over here with a hamstring. Harden is day to day, Tyler Johnson's day to day, and Shamet is day to day.
Yeah, just check it back at 7 and send it on the chat because that's what's really gonna, it's gonna be last minute decisions for all those guys.
Okay.
And even if he does come back, how long has it been since the 3 of them played together?
Right.
That's going to take some time for them to get back into their little groove. So, whether he does or not, we got to just be ready to take whatever's given to us.
Yeah.
Whatever they come with. Yeah. So, should be a good game. I'll be doing the same. I'll be watching both, like I said. And hopefully the Knicks win, and hopefully we see a good college game. I don't care who wins that game, really.
right.
So
Close us out, Bill. Close us out.
all right. We want to thank you, ladies and gents, for tuning in to the Knicks Dreams broadcast, where we discussed the last game featuring the New York Knicks mollywhopping of the Detroit Pistons.
Molly.
Then Dream proposed the greatest wish that would be a dream come true, pun intended.
Yeah.
Pun intended. If Dreams trade
scenario.
Along with free agency, if all of that comes to fruition, that would be great. With that being said, after every broadcast, we'd like to say, once a Knick,
Oh,
Always a Nick. All right, fellas. We'll
I
pick
see you
it up
guys
tonight.
tonight.
We'll
Yes, sir.
pick it up tonight. We'll pick it
Yes,
up
sir.
tonight during the chat, fellas.
hope springs eternal.